For pricing orders, we'll discuss pricing strategies. After completing this lesson, you'll be able to describe what a pricing strategy is, explain what customer pricing profiles are, talk about how pricing strategies get assigned, figure out how a pricing strategy is determined for a customer, and explain what matrices are and how they're used in pricing. Let's get started. This graphic gives you a big picture view of everything that's possible with the order-to-cash flow. You get all these features when Oracle Fusion Cloud Order Management is connected with other Oracle Fusion Cloud SCM applications. Just a quick note, things like credit checks, transportation planning, and compliance screening can happen both when an order is submitted and again during the fulfillment process. The pre-built integrations shown here really help make the entire order-to-cash process seamless. For this course, we're zeroing in on just a subset of these applications as they relate to order management and fulfillment. We'll also touch on how other systems feed into or depend on these flows, both upstream and downstream. In this lesson, our main focus is on pricing strategies. In the first topic, we'll discuss the role of pricing in order management. In pricing administration, you can set up several key components that help manage how pricing works for your business. Let's discuss these. First, pricing profile. This lets you group together customers who share similar traits. For example, you might categorize a customer as large size, high value, medium rating, and high revenue potential. Second, pricing segment. Here, you group customers based on similar buying habits into a segment and then link that segment with a pricing strategy that matches your business and revenue goals for those customers. Third, pricing strategy. This is where you'll pull together your company's pricing objectives and rules to make sure they align with your overall business requirements. You group different pricing rules into a strategy so that you can control exactly how pricing works. Fourth, list. You can create various lists, like price lists that include rules for calculating prices and shipping charges for an item. These lists are referenced in your pricing strategy. For example, you can apply more than one charge to an item, maybe a one-time sale price in one rule and a recurring monthly maintenance charge in another. You can also set up rules to handle currency conversion so pricing works smoothly across different currencies. For more details on currency conversions, you can check docsoracle.com. And fifth, the pricing algorithm. This is the engine behind the scenes. You configure how pricing administration actually calculates prices, including the use of algorithms and service mappings. The system is designed to be flexible so that you can extend these processes and tailor them for your own complex pricing scenarios. Setting these up gives you the control to align pricing practices with your company's goals and the needs of your customers. This diagram shows how the pricing setup works to enable pricing execution. With pricing administration, you have the flexibility to create your own pricing processes that match your company's pricing methods. Pricing in Oracle gives you powerful tools to design targeted pricing rules and processes that support your corporate pricing strategy. Here's how it works. First, pricing administrators look at their customer base and group customers with similar buying habits into pricing segments. Next, they evaluate the right price points and rules to match the business and revenue goals for each segment. Some of these pricing rules might include price lists, discount lists, cost list, shipping charge list, and pricing guidelines. You group these rules together into a pricing strategy, which defines how pricing will work for a particular order. Think of a pricing strategy as a container that holds all the rules you'll use to achieve your sales goals. For example, you might have a strategy to offer higher discounts to new customers who bought through direct sales. In this case, those customers would go into the new customers pricing segment, and the new customers pricing strategy would apply more generous discounts to their purchases. All of these features help you put your pricing strategies into action and hit your business and revenue objectives. Now let's look at the business use case. We will leverage this use case throughout the next few pricing lessons. Imagine you're the pricing administrator at Vision Corporation. Your team handles all things related to pricing, setting up pricing segments and strategies, defining product prices, managing discounts, and figuring out shipping charges. As part of our annual pricing review, we're going to focus specifically on the pricing areas that affect our customer, computer service and rentals. Here are the main topics we'll cover: pricing segments and strategies, price list, discount list, shipping charge list, and pricing guidelines. We'll look at each of these to make sure our pricing approach continues to meet both the company's and the customer's needs. Next, we'll take a closer look at pricing strategies. Let's start with a few key definitions. Customer pricing profile. This is a set of pricing-related attributes that describe how a customer typically buys. You look at these attributes to help assign the customer to the right pricing segment. The pricing segment. This is a group of customers who have similar buying behaviors. Grouping customers like this helps you understand how they might respond to a particular pricing strategy. The pricing strategy. This is a collection of pricing rules like price list, discount list, shipping charge list, cost list, currency conversion list, and guidelines that together define your approach for selling and pricing products. Each strategy supports a specific objective, such as breaking into a new market, holding your current position, or phasing out an old product. The diagram on the slide shows the relationship. A pricing segment stems from a customer's pricing profile, and the pricing strategy you use is selected based on that segment. More and more, businesses are moving their corporate pricing strategies closer to where decisions really happen, out on the front line. By having precise pricing segment and strategies, you can make sure you're offering the right price to the right customer to hit your business goals. Most of the setup and management takes place in the pricing and administration work area. A customer profile link in a customer to a specific set of attributes that captures how they buy from you. When you find customers with similar buying patterns, you can group them into the same pricing segments for more targeted pricing. Customer profiles can change over time, so each profile is active for a specific date range. You can even create different profiles for the same customer to reflect changes in their behavior at different points in time. Managing these customer pricing profiles is flexible. For example, you can search for profiles by their attributes, edit the values in a Microsoft Excel workbook, and then upload your changes into pricing administration. The screenshot on the slide shows the customer pricing profile for computer service and rentals, effective starting date August 1st, 2015. Here are the profile values for the customer. Revenue potential is very high, cost to serve is set to low, customer value and customer rating is set to very high, and the customer size is large. This kind of profile helps us be more precise with our pricing strategies and segments. As you plan your pricing strategy, it's important to review the different attributes you'll use to segment your customers. A key decision is figuring out how many pricing segments you want to set up. Pricing uses the attribute values from each customer's profile to decide which segment they belong to. Customers who share similar buying characteristics are grouped together in a pricing segment. Oracle Pricing uses matrices as a unique way to define these segments. In a matrix, you set up conditional columns with different attribute values and result columns for things like the pricing segment and precedence. This lets you expand your criteria for segmenting customers even further. For example, customers with very high revenue potential, large size, low cost to serve, very high value, and a very high rating would go into the corporate. Meanwhile, customers with a mix of medium values for revenue potential, size, cost to serve, value, and rating might fall into the corporate strategy group 2 segment. The matrix also allows you to add a default segment. If a customer doesn't meet the conditions for any of the specialized segments, they'll fall into a corporate segment group default. The system checks all and uses the precedence value, where a lower number means higher precedence, to make sure each customer is assigned to the best fitting segment. As an example, the customer computer service and rentals is assigned to the corporate segment group 1 pricing segment. That means the corporate pricing strategy group 1 will be used for this customer. The matrix approach gives you a lot of flexibility, columns to refine exactly when a certain pricing strategy should apply. Just a quick note, in order management, pricing strategies are set at the order header level, not at the line level. A pricing strategy is basically your overall plan for how you want to price and sell your products to reach a certain business goal. Think of it as the container that holds all the related pricing and shipping rules that are processed. These rules include things like price list, cost list, discount list, shipping charge list, and currency conversion list. You can set priorities for your pricing rules. This is called precedence. The system looks at the rules and applies the one with the highest priority, which is actually the lowest. Shipping rules are linked to your pricing strategy through the shipping charge list. You'll also set a default currency for each pricing strategy, which becomes the default currency for any transaction that uses that strategy. This screenshot here shows the Corp 1 page as an example. Some key options and associations you can set up include the following. Allow currency override. This lets you change the currency on the order if needed. Price list. You can use this to link various types of price lists here, such as segment price list, ceiling and floor price list, and GSA price list. Discount list. These cover several tiered or attribute-based discounts between the list price and the net price. Cost list. These capture the cost you need for cost plus pricing or for calculating margin. Currency conversion list. These make sure conversion rates between currencies are managed smoothly. Shipping charge list. Shipping charges based on the shipping method that's selected. And finally, guidelines. Guidelines help ensure your pricing policies are followed during the ordering process. All these features work together as part of your pricing strategy to make sure business objectives. This diagram walks you through how the pricing strategy is determined for computer service and rentals during the pricing execution process. Here's how it works at a high level. First, the system evaluates the customer's pricing profile. It looks at the attribute values set up for this customer and uses those to figure out which pricing segment they belong to on the pricing date. Next, the pricing segment is determined based on that profile information, then tied to the order. From there, the system picks the correct pricing strategy for the order by following the rules set up in the pricing strategy assignment. Once the pricing strategy is chosen, the pricing engine applies all the relative pricing rules from that strategy to the order. It provides the pricing strategy details and sets the default currency for the transaction. So, the whole process is automated, from customer profile to segment to pricing strategy, and finally to applying all the detailed pricing and currency rules to the order. Now, we'll discuss the setup of pricing matrices. This diagram shows how matrix classes, matrix types, and matrix rules all connect with each other. Matrices in Oracle Fusion Pricing are used to lay out sets of conditions and results in a spreadsheet. They're used throughout the system, for example, to determine pricing segments, assign pricing strategies, and make attribute-based adjustments to prices and discounts. Here's a few key points. Many pricing administrators find the spreadsheet-like interface easy to use, so the matrix class's UI is designed to feel familiar and user-friendly. Each matrix class can include multiple conditions and result columns, which makes matrices a powerful, flexible way to set up multi-dimensional pricing rules. Matrices are made up of these three main parts. Matrix class. This acts as a template defining the overall structure of the matrix, like which conditions and attributes you're comparing and what results you'll want to return. Matrix type classes are assigned to a matrix type, which ensures the right class is used for the right situation in the pricing administration UI and during price execution. For example, there's a seeded matrix class called Pricing Term Adjustment, which is mapped to the discount adjustment matrix type. Because of this mapping, you'll see the Pricing Term Adjustment matrix show up on the Manage Discount List page, where you can use it to create rules about discounts. This lesson will walk you through how to define matrix classes and how they're used within Oracle Fusion Order Management. You can create your own matrix class or adjust a pre-built seeded business needs. A matrix class holds the conditional attributes that pricing will check and the result attributes that pricing will return if those conditions are met. You do all of this in the Manage Matrix Class UI, which is found in the Pricing Administration work area. In this UI, you can set up the specific condition and result fields for your matrix, choose the comparison operators such as equals, less than, etc., and specify a compare to attribute to guide the logic. So extra settings for each column, such as whether it's required using the required flag, or whether it's okay for the value to be empty, and a rule. Don't forget, you'll also need to define the domain or the allowable set of values for each column. For example, in this screenshot, I have a new potential, customer size, cost to serve, customer value, and customer ranking are all condition columns you might use in the pricing segment matrix class. On the result side, attributes like pricing strategy and precedence will be returned once the conditions are matched. This setup gives you lots of flexibility for managing your pricing logic. Matrix classes are always linked or mapped to a matrix type. This mapping makes sure that they're used for the right purposes in the pricing administration UI and during the actual price calculation process. You manage these assignments in the Manage Matrix Types UI, where you can connect each matrix type to a specific matrix class. For example, in the screenshot, there's a seeded matrix class called Pricing Segment, which is mapped to the Pricing Segment matrix type. Because of this link, the correct condition and result columns from the matrix class will show up in the relevant part of the user interface, like the Price List UI, so you can easily create matrix rules for things like attribute-based pricing adjustments. This mapping helps keep your pricing rules organized and ensures they're used just where you need them. Using the Matrix Rules UI, you can create powerful, multi-dimensional rules based on the conditions and results you set up. These rules help you qualify customers or transactions with many variables at once. For example, you might use a matrix for attribute-based adjustments on a price list or discount list, or for figuring out which pricing segment or strategy to apply. The Matrix Rules interface is designed to look and feel a lot like a spreadsheet, making it easy to enter and manage the rules. You could also edit the different columns in the rules table right from this UI. The first screenshot on the slide shows how you can define rules for assigning a pricing segment in the Manage Pricing segment. Second screenshot shows the setup for rules that help you determine the pricing strategy. This is done on the Manage Pricing Strategy assignment page. This lets you